I'm here today with Jennifer Cunningham. Jennifer lives in Columbia, South Carolina, and is active in the South Carolina Republican Party. Jennifer, I see that you are the first vice chairman of the Richland County GOP. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
How long have you been active in Republican politics?
Since 2018.
Oh, wow, that's fairly recently. What was
Yeah.
the impetus for that?
Well, when I think back on my voting record, you know, I typically did not vote straight ticket. So I realized that I was voting for more Republicans than Democrats. And also during Obama's time in office, I was no longer satisfied with the job that the Democratic Party was doing. So I kind of, started going to Republican meetings, met a couple of really great folks, and relationships built, and just kind of went from there.
You used the words no longer. You were a Democrat?
Yes, I mean, that's kind of all that I knew. My mom was neither. My mom, and to this day, she's still pretty much an independent. But, in my environment and other people that looked like me, everyone was Democrats. It was always thought that Republicans, they were just rich old white men, that didn't like black people. So when you kind of grow up hearing that, and they have people like Al Sharpton, those type of guys, and that's all you see in the news and um what you hear, on the radio. So that's kind of not because I really knew anything about politics. It was just more of a group think type thing.
Right. You were raised in Alabama, is that correct?
No, I wasn't. No,
Where were you raised?
all over, military brat.
Military brat. Okay. You attended the University of South Carolina. You studied chemistry, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I know
I
you're,
did.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I said I graduated in 2000.
How did you wind up at the University of South Carolina?
Well, we moved here in 92 when I was in high school, graduated high school here. Um, and I thought Carolina, it was a really good school. I applied, they accepted me, and that's where I went.
You're involved in agriculture, is that right?
Yes, yes, I am.
You have an interest in some farms, or what can you tell us about that?
Yes, I work with farmers throughout the state of South Carolina, actually, mostly Black farmers, but I work with anyone that needs the assistance to make sure that they're aware of the different resources that are available to them in order to maintain their farm.
Good.
And I also work with kids in STEM and ag. I think is very important that we begin to engage the younger people in agriculture, because one thing is a fact: we all have to eat. So, and the average age of a Black farmer right now is about 65, and so
Wow.
you can see the problem with that. Exactly. So when you have our farmers aging and dying, and no one there left to pick up where they left off, that is very concerning to me.
I understand that access to fertilizer is becoming an issue. Is that correct?
Yes.
I've seen reports of riots in some European countries or Scandinavian countries over that issue.
Well, that I haven't seen. I don't watch TV. And that
You,
was another thing too. Once I turned the TV off, my whole perception just really changed, because I stopped looking what was going on so far away from me and started paying attention to what was going on right next door to me, so to speak.
well, that probably makes you happier than a lot of people.
Man, I tell you, when I like if I'm at a friend's house or out somewhere, some restaurants that have the TV going, As I'm looking, I'm like, I see why people are so angry and upset and, stressed out. If this is what you're feeding your mind every day, throughout the day, it's not healthy. Thank God, I don't come from that type of family. Oh, you're Republican. We don't want to deal with you. No, it was more so why are you Republican? I just want to know more. And actually, my family is very conservative, and I feel most Black people are conservative. I think a lot of us we bought into the lie of the Democratic Party.
I smiled when you said they know me. There just was a hint of that you might be a rather independent person.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own independent thought. At the end of the day, um, you know, I'm a I'm gonna pray about everything I do, and wherever, whatever God tells me to do, where He leads me, and that's where I follow. Because I do understand that, there's his hypocrisy and, some bad stuff on both sides.
Right.
But as far as being a party of limited government, I think our government's way, way too big. Um, in the past, when I was younger, I didn't understand that concept. But our government's way too big. I feel like small businesses are the backbones of our nation, and we need support our small businesses. I feel like there's so much opportunity in this country, and I've traveled to other countries. I have friends that have gone to different countries, and everyone says the same thing. There's no place like America. But you got to understand too. I think we deal with a large population that rarely leaves their backyard, so they have nothing to really kind of judge it by, other than what they see on TV, and so what other people tell them. So I think perspective and just being a the fact that I've traveled a lot and I've seen a lot, that's kind of shaped me where I am today.
I touched earlier on the fact that you're the first vice chairperson of the Richland County GOP. What does that entail? What kind of functions are you do you perform for the GOP?
I do a lot of community outreach, a lot of grassroots type, and pretty much whatever they need for me to do. I mean, it's always about just building community. That's pretty much it. Community outreach. Sometimes if we have meetings and decisions need to be made, participate in that.
You mentioned earlier that people who look like you are expected to have a certain paradigm or a certain outlook. You deal with conservatives probably day in and day out in your life at this point. How do you react to that statement that conservatism equates to racism?
Yeah, well, I don't hear it personally. I mean, maybe, people discuss it or may see it, you know, on Twitter, Facebook, something like that. But in my daily life, I don't deal with that. As a matter of fact, where I live in Richland County, it's a very blue county.
Right.
The communities I work in are very blue communities, and they know who I am. As far as I'm a Republican, but they also know that I work hard, and they know what I bring to the table and that I care. So I think, some things are maybe done sometimes kind of underhandedly because of, my affiliations. But for the most part, the people appreciate what we do. And, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, the people, the children. So a lot of those other things, I'm sure it's there, but my focus is so razor sharp on my goals and what's in front of me, that
Right.
I don't let that deter me. I feel like, and I tell the people in my party this all the time, people don't know what they don't know. And if you don't go into these communities, different types of communities, not just Black communities, because you have some very white liberal communities as well. But if you don't go into communities and interact with people, then they don't know. So I never have to go into a community and say, "Hey, look at me, I'm a Black Republican." No, but they see how I move in the way that I do things, and they appreciate that. I always say, as long as the people are for me, I don't really, worry about the other stuff.
Actions speak louder than words. The Republican Party has been sometimes rightfully criticized for years for not making the effort to reach out in minority communities and show people that they care. I'm glad to see you working in that way, and I think you probably have said something like that to members of your party.
Yeah, I have. I think a lot of it is messaging. Um, there's such a gap in understanding one another's viewpoints. I always tell people is each person on this earth has lived a different life. And that life that we've lived has created our perspectives and how we perceive the world and how we think about things to a great degree. So we have to, each individual, I feel you have to take that into account when you're speaking with someone. Like I tell people, as strong as you believe in your values and your principles and what you stand for, there's someone opposite who believes just as strongly, what they believe. So I can't say that you're wrong because you believe the way you believe. That's the way you believe. Some people don't agree with some of the things that I believe. That's not going to stop me from believing what I believe. But at the same time, if I'm given or if I learn of more information, I'm able to still receive information without just telling people, no, like you're totally wrong and I'm right. Like I don't do that. I don't go back and forth with people like that.
It seems that the art of dialogue is missing in this country.
Oh my goodness, yes, it is. That's a and like I say, people you can speak the same language, but not be speaking the same language. So and a lot of times what I've come to find out, a lot of things is just miscommunication, misunderstanding. And when people don't know how to properly communicate, there's a lot of misunderstanding and things like that get thrown in the mix. I mean, there have been many times when I've spoken with people and listened to people and repeat back to them what I heard, and I'd be totally off. They're like, no, if that's what I said, that's not what I meant. Well, that's what I heard. I want to make sure I'm understanding you. And a lot of times, someone may say something, and that's not really how they meant it, but just depending on that other person's perspective or their set, that's how they take it, and then boom, you have a big misunderstanding, and it's really, not that big of a deal, but it becomes that because the understanding's not there.
For quite a while, reframing a question just to make sure that you were listening properly and really heard what the person intended to say.
Yes,
That seems to be a lost art.
we got hey, some kind of way. Look, we got to bring it back. We got to bring it back because, like I say, it's communication is, I think, is a huge issue in society overall today.
I agree. I'm struck by the fact that someone who is trained in chemistry might not be a person who is comfortable communicating. You communicate very well. What do you attribute that? Your upbringing, your family life?
Oh, let's see. I think it is because I want to understand. I've had mentors. I still have mentors. I've had mentors because my communication skills used to be not very good. I've had mentors that have worked with me as far as that goes in communication with my communication skills. So I used to be real bad about half listening because I'm waiting to respond.
Mhm.
So I was able to, take, what they tell me and, kind of take it in and like, yeah, you're right. Even though it may be something that not so good. And that's why I always tell people it's okay if there's something about yourself that you're not happy with, because guess what? You get to change it.
Right.
You accept it and you change it and you become better. And that's what we do, instead of just saying it doesn't exist. You have to shine light in certain spots. So I think just being able to receive um, information from loved ones has helped me to help my communication skills overall.
You said you have had many mentors. Is there any one person that stands out in your life affecting your outlook and who you are?
Other than my mom, who is absolutely, my mom's amazing. So I will put her at the top. But I would have to say, it's so, I was, Benita Clemens, excuse me, she's one of my mentors in the agriculture space, and then this overall healthy eating. And then Mr. Tyrone Dash is a mentor of mine. He really has taught me a lot about just kind of working with people and how to engage with people, especially like on the spectrum of education and the education system. So I would think Benita Clemens and Mr. Dash are two of my main mentors.
That's great. Jennifer, I know you're a very busy woman. I appreciate your taking the time to talk to me tonight. I always give my guests the floor to make closing remarks. Anything that's on your heart that you'd like to say that I have not asked you about?
Well, first I want to thank you for the interview.
You're welcome.
I feel like with everything that's going on in our country today, this stuff that's going on doesn't even, it seems like it's a bad movie, to a certain degree.
Right.
One thing I tell people: be the change that you want to see. And even when I think about myself, just really just love and care about people. I wish more people would really do that.
The world would be a much better place if people would do that.
Yeah. But the thing is, a lot of people, they don't really care about themselves. They're just not aware of it though.
Hmm.
Um, I think like with the Republican Party this year, 2022, we have a chance to take the majority back. Yeah, but I think like I was saying, I think we have a great chance right now to really get this country back and going in the right direction. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very optimistic at what's to come, because I do, our better days still lie ahead of us. And it's like anything, you put clothes in a washing machine. How you get the clothes clean? You have to agitate it somewhat.
Right.
And so now I just feel like, as a country, as a nation, we're growing. We're having issues at the border, legal immigration. I mean, we have so much going on right now. But I truly, in my heart's to heart, feel like if we stay the course, well, first of all, we got to turn around from what this administration has done. When we get back to where the GOP is kind of leading the way, I think that we're gonna see better days. We have people like DeSantis down in Florida, people like Senator Scott. Um, we have a lot of great GOP leaders that are stepping up.
Thank you for those comments. Again, thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it.